Hey, it's Kim Eldridge from New Frontier Books, and welcome to today's live stream in the Finally Write Your Book Facebook group. As promised, today we're going to be going over an exercise from the book Idea Workbook. One of my goals for our time today is really to be able to charge you to go into this holiday weekend, Thanksgiving weekend, with power, so you can get some clarity about your book and so that you no longer have to be stuck. So a little bit about me, because this might be the first time that you've ever met me. My name is Kim Eldridge. You can find me online at newfrontierbooks.com. I have a degree in creative writing from the University of Arizona, but more importantly than that, I have written and published 19 books of my own, and I have helped over 40 authors to do the exact same thing. Nothing about what I teach is a system or a formula book. It's all about really honoring your message and being able to bring it to the page. Now, all that being said, I usually do work with nonfiction authors. One of my soapboxes is your message matters. The people that I work with are passionate. They are excited to share their message with the world because they really believe that their message can change the world. And you know what? I believe that too. So one of the things that I wanted to share today before we get into this exercise that we're actually going to do together, I wanted to just tell you a little bit of a story. When I went to the University of Arizona, I went because I loved stories. I loved writing. And this was my passion. This still is my passion. This is what I wanted to share with the world, stories. And what I discovered was that there was this really sharp divide for the people who write just for the love of writing. There's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong with journaling. There's nothing wrong with writing books that are for your own personal growth and development. I don't know about you, but I'm a huge fan of the TV show Friends. And there's this episode where Phoebe sits down to write a book. And her friends are all impressed, going, "Oh, you're writing a book?" And she's like, "Yeah, I've written 4. They were all for her. There is power in writing. But on the other side of this sharp divide are the people who want to write their books because they want to share their message. They want to take that out to the world. Those are the people that I work with, the ones who are ready to get started. So after I graduated from the university, I was very disenchanted with the writing world because it was so completely hard to get published. Brutally difficult. I won't go into it in any depth today. But I spent the next 11 years working in my dad's tax office. I have a degree in creative writing, but I also am bilingual. I have another degree in Spanish. And he needed an interpreter. We live here in northern Arizona, and at the time there was a large population of Spanish-speaking people who needed to use our services. So I took a job in my dad's tax office working as an interpreter, and it was okay. But for somebody who loves stories, this just really wasn't a good fit for me. And at the time, we also had a business that we had together that we never really could get off the ground. I talk about that one a lot. The bottom line is, I spent basically the next 8 or 9 years being a talker. I wasn't writing. I was not a writer. I certainly wasn't an author. Remember that in my world, the distinction between being a writer is somebody who writes. Being an author is somebody who writes books, who shares messages, and who gets it out there. I was neither. After a while, I recognized that I wasn't even talking about writing anymore. I wasn't writing. Maybe that, the big email newsletter about outdoor recreation, but the truth of the matter was I wasn't doing anything. I was completely stuck in inaction. The great thing about inaction, you can change it. There can be a catalyst event that makes you go, you know what? I can't live like this anymore. I couldn't let my dream continue to die. And somewhere around year 8 or 9, I recognized that I was letting my dream of sharing my message, of being an author, die. So I spent the next 3 years, as I worked for Dad for 11 years, I spent the next 3 years not letting the dream die. I worked full-time in the tax practice, and during tax season, that meant I was in at 8 a.m. and I worked until 6 p.m. with, if I was lucky, a half an hour break for lunch, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, and on Saturdays I was in at 9 and worked until 2 or 3, from January to April. And it wasn't usually that bad again during extension season. But here's the thing. I had made the decision that I wanted to write my book, and I didn't let anything get in my way. So that's one of the things that I want to help you with today. Does that sound good? I've noticed that lots of people come to me having this desire. They want to write their book, but they don't know how to go from I have the desire to I'm in motion and actually able to start the writing process. And that's why today I wanted to bring you an exercise from the book Idea Workbook. I created this home study course, gosh, it's been a while now, maybe 3 years, because I recognized that people didn't know how to get from the passion and the desire to write a book to actually being able to hone in on that idea and be able to move forward. So the book Idea Workbook is 10 exercises designed to be taken in order with one goal: to be able to narrow in on your book's topic. Now, I have some notes down here, so I'm making sure that I'm covering my notes. One of the things that I'm a big advocate for is that you have one book, one topic. You might be asking yourself, well, what do I mean by that? What I mean is you want to be really precise and focused as a service to your reader. It doesn't do your reader any good if you're trying to overwhelm them with too much information. Years ago, I got invited to review a book that had already been published. And English was not her first language. So she had worked really hard to be able to craft her language, her message, in a way that was readable. She did a great job there. The problem is in one book, she tried to cover 4 topics. She had these beautiful stories about her early childhood. They were wonderful. They were showing how they were shaping the woman that she was today. Then she went on to talk about having an online business. Okay, that's a great topic. She went on to talk about why you needed to have an email marketing list and why this was so important. Okay, this is another great topic. And then she went on to talk about why you should be a vegetarian. I am not a vegetarian, so I don't have anything to say to that. The bottom line was that there were 4 topics in one book. And her message of empowering people to go out there, overcome their situations, and start an online business was lost. The goal of her book was not achieved, and her readers were frustrated. There were a lot of 5-star reviews because people thought that that was what they had to do, not recognizing that, we're not going to get into that. The bottom line of all of this is you owe it to your reader to be on topic. You owe it to your reader to be delivering what you promised them to deliver. So let's look at some of my clients that I've been working with. I have a client who wrote a book about underground homes, a very specific type of building design. Imagine what would happen if he had started talking about, in a book about underground homes, why you should pick a certain brand of carpet. I'm promising you a book about an underground home building technique, and I'm talking about carpet. Sure, they're kind of sort of related, but as the reader, you're going to be a little bit upset, right? Let alone if he jumps off onto something that's completely off topic, but maybe he's still a subject matter expert. I'm working with another client right now about how to hire private security. If you're a big property owner and you need to hire private security, this gentleman is also passionate about going out and writing ATVs. This is awesome. That passion is great. It has no place in his book about hiring private security. So it's one book, one topic. A lot of people can understand the idea of this umbrella topic staying in there. The challenge is that when you're a subject matter expert, you have this tendency to want to give and give and give and give. If you go to my website and you look at some of the really old articles on the blog, you can see that I suffered on this myself, right? I do have articles about blog writing. I have articles about using your email newsletter. They're kind of under the same aegis of writing, but they're not honed in. So this is where the book Idea Workbook comes in. We want to help you hone in on a topic so you can get into motion. And here's one of the really snazzy things that's going to happen. When you do these exercises, lots of ideas are going to come to the surface, which means that by doing these exercises, not only are you going to be able to figure out what you want to write for this book, you're also going to have loads of topics that you can do for blog posts, for videos, for future books, for being interviewed, for anything that you need to be able to share your expertise. It's going to draw it out of you. Okay? So if you are ready to get started with this exercise, let me know. Shoot me a heart, say I'm ready. I know that there are people live on the line, and if you're joining in the replay, I really appreciate that as well. I had planned to do this on my back porch, but it's really cold out there, so I decided I would bring it inside. Okay, so thank you. I appreciate that. Take a deep breath. For this exercise, you are going to need 3 things: paper, a writing utensil, and a timer. Now, somebody out there is going to be saying, well, can I do this on the computer? So I have this theory, okay? I have this theory why writing by hand is so powerful. I should do the research on this theory because I think it's pretty good. I have this theory that the reason why when you're stuck with anything, if you go back to handwriting, holding that pen and putting it on the paper, why that is always so effectual is because that's one of the most ancient ways that humans have expressed ourselves. I'm thinking cave paintings. Now, I have no scientific basis for this, but in my experience, handwriting taps into some primordial part of your brain. It allows you to tap into that real essence of yourself. You can do it anywhere. So when I say you need a piece of paper and a writing utensil, can you just work with me on that one? Just work with me on that one. These exercises do not work if you just think about them. They don't work if you just talk about them. They work slightly better than if you just think about them. They work if you actually write about them. Okay? So you need 3 things: piece of paper, a writing utensil, and a timer. Your cell phone's just fine. Okay. Has anybody ever done a free write before? Because I have this background in creative writing, because I've traveled all over the world taking writing classes, I've recognized that there are all of these really great tools for writing. And then when I entered into the business world, you know what I discovered? Nobody in this business world knows about them. And I was like talking to my clients and I was like, well, did you do this? Did you do that? They had no clue what I was talking about because I realized that my two worlds didn't intersect. So here's what a free write is. It's exactly what it sounds like. Now, it's not brainstorming. Okay, brainstorming is where I'm trying to come up with lots of ideas. A free write is where you have a topic and you are freely writing about it. You are not censoring yourself. Everything is just coming out. You're turning off that part of your brain that's the critic, that's saying, this is stupid, this is going to be a lot of work, how are you going to publish this, you don't know anything about this. You turn off that part of your brain, which is why you need the timer. There's this moment when you're free writing. At first, it's really easy. Things are just really pouring out. It's that top of conscious stuff. The stuff that's, in your head anyways. Then there's this moment where that immediate chatter gets quiet. And you're like, I can't do it anymore. I'm so stuck. You're not stuck. Take a deep breath. Keep going. This is why you have the timer. We're going to set it for 15 minutes. It's going to feel like a long time. There will become this moment somewhere between minute 3 and 5 where you feel like you are dying. Keep going. Keep writing. Write what is coming to your head. It's a lot like meditation, where you just kind of let your thoughts pass. Kind of like that. Just keep writing. And then somewhere around minute 6 or 7, something will shift. And you'll be able to tap into those deeper levels of ideas. And they will just flow out onto the page. Okay? So I want to make sure that you're really well versed in this idea. You are not worried when you're doing this free write about your bigger book. You're not worried about anything in the future. You're not worried about, how am I going to write this book? How am I going to have time? How am I going to publish it? Who's going to read it? None of that. That is not the point of this exercise. Now remember, this is the first exercise in the Brew Your Book workbook, so you would use this exercise to do the next couple. But this is going to get you started. I want to give you a lot of clarity. So I'm going to have 5 questions that I want you to be mulling on during your free write. This does not mean like you're writing an essay about these questions. And if you only get to 4 out of the 5, that's okay too. The idea is I want to spark something for you. Otherwise, when you just do a free write and you don't have a topic, it comes out like journaling. That's okay. And don't be surprised if when you sit down to do a free write, you have a bunch of stuff that's coming out first that has nothing to do with your book's topic. This is a tool that you can come back to at any time. Now, why do I pick 15 minutes for this exercise? Because I found in working with clients, it's long enough to get through that immediate top of mind and break through that pain of, this is dumb, I don't know what I'm writing about. So last June, I did this in my live event, and I set the timer for 15 minutes and everything, and I could see these emotions playing across people's faces. And at the end, I was like, okay, what opened up for you? How did this work? And to a man, everybody said, oh my gosh, it was painful at first. It was really easy, and then it got painful, and then it got clear. And I didn't want to stop writing at the end of 15 minutes. So I want to address that before I send you off to go work on all of this. I want you to set the timer for 15 minutes because that's your out. You have to keep writing for 15 minutes, even if you're just writing, I don't know what to write, I'm really stuck, this is really painful. Keep writing, keep tapping into that old part of your brain, where creativity lives. But if at the end of the 15 minutes, when your timer goes off, if you recognize that you're still flowing, just turn it off and keep flowing. Otherwise, at the 15 minutes, take a deep breath, congratulate yourself, move on. So for this free write. Here's what I want you to do. And for all you type A personalities out there, it's not 3 minutes per question, okay? Keep circling these same questions for the whole 15 minutes. The first thing I want you to do, so write these down, is I want you to write down everything that you love about your topic, about your business, about your book's idea. Okay, so everything that you love. When I did this for some of my books, one of the books I did it for was my camping book, The Pitch Your Tent, A Family's Guide to Tent Camping. So I wrote down everything that I loved about camping. The sensory stuff, everything that I loved about camping. Because all I could see at that time, I wanted to write a book about camping. You probably have that level of clarity. And if not, this is going to help. So everything that you love. You can start your sentences with, I really love, and then fill in the blank. Now, don't be alarmed if something comes out like, I really love knitting. Okay? I really love backpacking. Okay, I thought I was going to write a book about how to write a book, but that's coming out. It's okay. The idea is to start with what you think your book's topic is, but there's no censorship here. So, first question, or first prompt, I really love. Write down everything you love. The second thing is all the things you don't like to talk about. What is boring to you? What is it that when you get asked, you're like, ugh, I don't want to talk about that. What do you hate? Ideally over the same topic. So when I was doing this for the camping book, I was not a backpacker at the time. So I hated it when people would ask me backpacking questions because I didn't know. I wasn't interested. I didn't want to talk about it. I also didn't like it when they asked me questions about big, massive RVs. At the time, I didn't even own a trailer. Now I own a little tiny pop-up. Still not that into motorhomes. So I really hated those things. You can start your sentences with, I hate it when I have to talk about blank. So, you know, in my current business, helping people write and publish their books, I really hate it when I have to talk about agents and the traditional ways of doing things. This doesn't mean that you don't know a lot about it, but it's draining to you. It's things that you really don't like. Okay, the third thing are what are the questions that you get asked over and over? So this is neutral. It's neither I love it nor I hate it. I just get asked this a lot. For me, I get asked about publishing a lot. And I love to talk about publishing. Publishing makes me really happy. It's one of those questions that I get asked a lot. So you want to be specific. It's not I get asked about publishing. It's I get asked about copyright. I get asked about ISBN numbers. I get asked about agents. I get asked about is self-publishing right for me? I get asked about how do I start to publish my book? What do you get asked about all the time? Now, you know I just recently got married a month ago, actually, a month today. You can tell I haven't been bonding with my calendar, right? One of the things I really hated was I was getting really tired of people asking me wedding questions. So if I was doing this exercise then, I can guarantee that would have come up probably in a lot of different ways. So that's your third thing. I get asked a lot. The fourth question is, what are you an expert about? What are you an expert about? What can you go on and on and on and on and on about? Where are you an expert? Now, I want you to notice these last couple of questions. I'm not saying I'm an expert about and I love it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, what are you an expert about? So there are lots of things that you have expertise about, and there are going to be lots of things you have expertise about that don't relate to your book's topic or what you think your book's topic is. You see where I'm driving at? It's okay. Talk about what you are an expert at. This is self-proclaimed expertise. You do not have to think that you have to be viewed as the world's leading expert on a such and such. Not in the slightest. So for example, I'm an expert at getting Ben and I ready to go for a backpacking trip. Does that make me an expert in backpacking, like the world's expert? No, it doesn't. I don't care. I'm an expert in getting us ready. According to my dogs, I am an expert at belly rubs. I also really suck at throwing the ball for them. So what are you an expert at? And then the fifth question, this one's hard. Like, it can bring up your crap. What should you know more about, but you don't? No matter how much of an expert we are in our topics, there's always something that we're not an expert at. We feel like we should know more about that. So what should you know more about that you don't? So here's what I want you to do. Keep circling these topics for the whole 15 minutes. Remember that there is no right or wrong answer here. You are looking for clarity. Now, I'm going to give you a hint. Like I said, this is from the Book Idea Workbook. Once you have this body of information out of your head, themes are going to start to arise, right? The next exercise is taking these handwritten pages and working with what you've just written to hone in on your book's topic. So what happens then is that I walk you through a process where it's not just what you love, but where are things intersecting with love, expertise, passion. The whole purpose of the Book Idea Workbook is not to write a book that you think people want to read. Commercially viable kills. When you don't have passion for your topic, even though you think it's commercially viable, bad things happen. I was once hired to edit this book from a lady who's an expert in her industry, and she wanted to write a book proving that she was the expert. That was her whole impetus for coming into it. The book was not about sharing her passion for what she knew. It was not about sharing a message. It was really just a regurgitation of everything that she knew, with the idea was that by proving she was an expert, people would come and hire her. The book was really boring because none of her passion came through. I was paid to read it because I was her editor, and I had a hard time finishing it. Her passion didn't come through, and the book doesn't sell well. But when you have a book that is fueled by passion, that passion oozes through the page, and it goes straight into the hearts and the minds of the reader and keeps them turning pages. And it keeps your message landing with them. It keeps them engaged, and it keeps you engaged through the writing process. So a lot of the people that I work with think that their first step is writing an outline. It's not. It's not. Your first step is recognizing what makes your heart sing. Now, I will say that probably 45% of the people that I do just these first few exercises from the Book Idea Workbook with, so just the first ones where it's this free write and then the two that come after where you do stuff with this, probably 45% of them discover that the topic they really want to write about isn't the topic that they thought they wanted to write about. It isn't that one that the logical part of your brain is saying, oh, do this. It's the one that your heart is calling you to write. So let me give her a quick recap. It's a 15-minute free write. Set your timer. Get out your pen and paper. You don't censor yourself. You just let things keep writing. The 5 topics I want you to try to circle are, circle around, keep writing on these, I really love blank. I really hate it when I have to talk about fill in the blank. I get asked over and over, I'm an expert about, and what should I know more about? But I don't. Okay, here's what I'm going to charge you with. I want you to go and do this. I want you to go and do it right now. I want you to get off the live stream as soon as we're done in 2 or 3 minutes. Set your timer for 15 minutes, and I want you to do this exercise. I tried to decide how we could do this together, where I would set the timer for 15 minutes, and then you would do the writing while we were live. I couldn't figure out how to make that work, so if anybody jumped in, they didn't just think I had left my camera on, where it wouldn't be really boring. I couldn't figure out how to do that. So promise me right now, if you're live, I want you to write in, I promise that you're going to do this exercise today. Write in this for me. I promise. So one of the things that I'm really inspiring everyone I'm coming in contact to do over this holiday weekend is to make a decision about their book. Thanks, Anna. I'm going to hold you to this promise. I want you to make a decision about your book. In or out. Now, here's the truth of the matter. I've got a project of my own that I'm making this own decision about. I got the idea in mid-January of this year, 2016, and I fiddled with it all year long. This is the end of November. I haven't actually done. So over this weekend, I'm going to decide, am I in or am I out with this project? If you're out, it's okay. Go and take your passion and focus on something that you are excited about. I do a lot of strategy sessions where I talk with people one-on-one, and probably 10 to 15% of the people that I talk to through the course of that discovery session or immediately thereafter discover that they don't actually want to write a book. They thought they did. Now that the rubber has to meet the road, they don't actually want to. Or somebody told them, oh, you should write a book. You should write a book. And they're absorbing that from somebody else. Thank you, Maureen. I promise to do this exercise today. Good. So it's okay if you recognize that I don't want to write a book, or I don't want to write this book, or I want to share this knowledge in a different way. Video, audio, courses, I don't want to write a book. It's okay. But I want you to make that determination, and I want you to do it this weekend. So to help you with this, I'm giving you a special code where you can get the Book Idea Workbook at a 25% discount. So it's newfrontierbooks.com/courses/Book Idea Workbook. As soon as I'm done, I'll pop in the link. The code that you want to use, the promo code, is Friday. Friday, all lowercase, and it'll take off 25%. This is good through Black Friday. I want to reward you for being here. I want you to reward you for taking action. Above all, with all of my clients, what I really, really want is I want them to stop struggling. Stop struggling. I spoke to a gentleman last week who said he had been drinking the stuck juice, and I love that. I'd never heard that before. The biggest way you can stop struggling is first decide, in or out, are you going to write the book or not? And then secondly, hone in on your topic. Once you have that clear, you can move forward. Now remember, you're not writing anything in blood. Nothing is set in stone. You can always write more than one book. This is not one of those things that you have a one-time shot at. I've written 19 books. At any time, do you have any idea how many projects I have in the fire? Lots. Lots. But once I make the decision that I'm going to focus, that's where the magic happens. That's where I'm able, okay, I'm going to do it, and now I can hone in and let's get this done. That's what I want for you. So I'm going to go ahead and send you off to have a glorious Thanksgiving weekend. This is good. My mental timer was I wanted to talk for about half an hour. I want you to go and do this exercise do this exercise. I hear your voice a lot. Thanks. You're welcome, George. I'm so glad that you're here today. I want you to make the decision. I want you to get into motion. I want this to be powerful for you. I say it all the time that your message matters. It matters to the world. Here's the most important thing. Writing a book changes lives. The first life that it changes is the life of the author. Guess what? That's the most important life. That's the one that matters. Yours. Yours. When you write your book, when you make that decision, you change. It doesn't matter if you actually end up publishing it. Sometimes it doesn't even matter if you finish it. Don't tell anybody I said that. That decision, moving forward powerfully, into motion, I'm going this direction, boom. It changes a person. I don't want you to stay in inaction, to stay stuck. So decide, in or out on the book, do this exercise, get into motion. Let me help you get into motion. So I want to thank you for joining me today. If you have not yet gotten on my mailing list, y'all need to be there. The easiest way to do that is to go to 5mentalmonsters.com. That one I can type in. The number 5. mentalmonsters.com. Go. What that is a free download, a free book that is the 5 mental monsters that are keeping you stuck on your book. So if you're not on my list yet, you need to go do that. And then I'm going to pop in the link as soon as we're done here to the Book Idea Workbook. Now here's the thing. I'm not going to post in the promo code. I'm going to tell people that they need to watch this. It's what are we at now? 40 minutes. You can handle it. That promo code is the word Friday, all lowercase. So thank you so much for joining me. It has been my pleasure to serve you. I intend to do these more regularly. In the meantime, have a glorious weekend. Enjoy this time with your family. Give thanks, and I'll catch you next week. Thanks so much.